Jay-Z wants as well. Beyonce was a suburban black girl, privileged, two-parent home, always a winner, always cosseted. Jay-Z was raised by a single mother in the hood. He was a dope boy on the corner, and he wants that golden girl to erase his painful past.
It's probably going to piss off a lot of people, but I'm going to say it. Beyonce is not Jay-Z's dream girl, which is ironic because she actually was a dream girl. But I don't say this to knock Beyonce in any way, shape, or form, because Beyonce is probably a lot of people's dream girl, but Beyonce's not Jay-Z's dream girl. But Beyonce fits the image of who Jay-Z thinks that someone at his level in music, as a major executive in music, should be with, because she is the queen. She is the queen-like energy. She is this regal queen-like wife that is by his side. But that's not the woman that he really wants, which is why we know he's cheated on her. I mean, there's been albums about it at this point. My guess is he's probably cheating with women who are more his type, because Beyonce is not his type. She fits the image of who he thinks that a powerful music executive should be with.
Girl, I would never, ever, ever talk about any sort of celebrity relationship. That's why you never hear me say it. But I think that this actually brings up a really good point that I wanted to share with you as your fairy godbrother and as a dating coach for 14 years. I want to let you know that men put women into different categories. And it's not the simplistic wifey material, not wifey material categories. There are 5 categories that men put women into, and I wanted to share those with you so that you understand kind of what's what. Okay, so the first category is the desperate girl, and the desperate girl is all the girl that's chasing, emailing him, texting him, trying to earn his love. That's the lowest of the low, no shade. And if you don't know if you're this girl, if you are always initiating conversations, texts, and if the only reason that he's reaching out is because he wants something or needs something for you, or is asking money, you're probably in the desperate girl category. That's category number 1. Category number 2 is the good time girl. This is the girl that he hooks up with. Oftentimes these are the girls that he doesn't want to be seen in public with. No shade, but if you're a darker skinned girl, if you're a curvier girl, and if you're a trans girl, sometimes some of these guys will try to put you in the box, so don't let them do that. If you want to figure out if you're this girl, if he is giving you what you do in text, or if he's messaging you after 10 p.m., or if he's taking you out on dates outside of the city center, you're probably in this category. So that's category number 2, the good time girl. The third category is the good enough girl. This is a tricky category because he's doing like the bare minimum and things are okay. He's not mean, he's not rude, but he's not doing the extra things. He's getting you gifts for your birthday, he's getting you gifts for Valentine's Day, but he's not doing the small to put you over the top, to really value and cherish you. If you want to know if you're in this category, you have to understand and think, am I always having to ask him to do things, and is he not doing them the first time around? If not, he's probably put you in the category of a good enough girl, because a guy that is like in love with the entire package is going to need to hear things once, and he's just going to do them. Okay? The fourth category is the dream girl category. So the difference between dream girl and the kind of good enough category is the dream girl, he loves the whole package, and he's going to do the little stuff in between, the random flowers, right? He's going to take care of things without you asking him to do so. The thing that you have to be aware of, and this is the category that you want to be in, is you want to make sure that you're not performing. A lot of girls will be in this dream girl category, and he will want to do all of these things for you, but then you feel like, oh my God, I have to be this like curated version of myself and not my real self. Don't do that, girl. Yeah. The fifth category, and I actually think that this is the category that Jay-Z and Beyonce are in, is the out of your league category. And this is where the woman comes from wealth, more education, has a bigger job or prestige than the guy, and he's doing everything that he can to be a part of that prestige to lift himself up. And so what happens though is, after a while, if he doesn't feel like he's satisfying her needs, he will cheat, or he will try to humble her in a certain kind of way to bring her down to his level and his status so he doesn't feel as inadequate. So those are the 5 different categories that men put women in. Now, quiet as it's kept, some people are saying, I was looking at the comments of the original poster, that Aaliyah was Jay-Z's dream girl. I don't have a fight in this battle, but please understand that if you find yourself in one of these categories that doesn't fully serve you, I can definitely help you get out of it, because there are deeper things happening that you're going to have to heal from if you want to level up. So book a call with me if you want, but I hope that this is helpful for you.
Like when people say that America has like a consumerism problem, I did not understand it, but I'm starting to slowly understand that how deep consumerism runs in America. Like, you guys have too much spending power. I'll get to the main point, but everything is like, pay me this to get access to this, pay that, blah, 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 blah. Like, you really cannot see yourself doing something because you want to. You just have to be on the survival mode, constantly looking for opportunities to make money. Interesting though. Now let's get to the actual point of why I am making the this video. I've always thought that Beyonce was out of Jay-Z's league. Like, from the time I was young, I was in primary school, and I was listening to a song, Ring the Alarm, blah, blah, blah. Like, she was constantly in pain with this man. And we all knew that Beyonce's like trying too hard. Beyonce has a fix. I remember like a good friend of mine, Gugu. Yeah, she said it perfectly. I don't think she remembers saying this, but she was reading cards. I hope she does. On TikTok, and she was reading cards. She's very good with that. We were talking life in general, and eventually she was like reading everyone and then giving people like their read, and we were all shocked, including myself, when she talked about me, being an Aquarius. So she was reading cards, she was reading us all, and she was reading like Beyonce and her being a Virgo, right? She has like this fixing attitude, fixing mindset. Yeah, I don't think she would want to settle for anybody else than Jay-Z, because she believes in her mind that she fixed him to be her ideal man. Believe it or not, like, he in his way also stepped up to Beyonce's level, because whether he acknowledges this or not, without her, he will cripple. He will be like Diddy, basically. Like, without Beyonce, he's going to be just like another billionaire. He's Jay-Z. Like, his status will hit hard. He won't be the same. He even says it in his songs that you should listen to the song of Khaled. I don't remember. I did it. I think I did it, but on God, something like that. I'm not sure. I'm thinking, but somewhere she's Khaled. I'm not sure about the title of the song, but I love it so long. I love it so long. I love it so much, but it features like Jay-Z, few of these rappers, and Beyonce's like Jay-Z. He's like, I beg different. He begs different by using Beyonce, and Beyonce is there in the background, like, hey, when they're doing like a billionaire type of thing, like there was like, oh, I'm a billionaire, let's not forget about the other B, and so yeah, like, I think they know this. They know that they are a business. Beyonce though cannot envision her life without Jay. She loves him way too much because she is the fixer. She has a personal thing in her mind that likes fixing things. And she would not, in herself, that she needs to fix, would not want to be in a situation where she's not fixing stuff. She constantly wants to be the one building something. It's her energy. She has this building mindset that she carries with her. And it's really interesting. And she knows. She knows. Don't think that this woman doesn't know that
She's not what Jay-Z wants, but they are together and they're gonna make it work regardless.
So people have been talking about how they don't think Beyonce is Jay-Z's dream girl. I concur. I believe she's his golden girl, as in The Great Gatsby, where Daisy is referred to as the golden girl, and both Gatsby and Tom only really want her because of what she represents, not because of who she is. And this ties in with the men's own identity. They want to use her to define their identity. All Gatsby can remember is that he was a poor soldier and he would go to Daisy's house. Her father thought he wasn't good enough. Now, all these years later, now that the man is dead, he wants to come back and claim Daisy as a prize. He wants her to tell her husband, who she has a child with, I never loved you, because he wants to erase his past using Daisy. And this is what Jay-Z wants as well. Beyonce was a suburban black girl, privileged, two-parent home, always a winner, always cosseted. Jay-Z was raised by a single mother in the hood. He was a dope boy on the corner, and he wants that golden girl to erase his painful past. Let me ask you, without a Beyonce by his side, do you think this guy ever would have had entry into Obama's White House? No. For him, Beyonce is Olivia Pope and Michelle Obama all rolled into one. She is the fixer and the elevator. This is also why he went for Beyonce rather than a woman who was Beyonce in his own generation. That woman would have been married before. That woman has her own past, and he doesn't want to be reminded the same way Gatsby was reminded by Daisy's marriage and child that she had a life before him. He was desperate for a woman who, in his mind, had no past, so he preyed on a child, he's got this huge age gap with, because he thought this would help him maintain some kind of supremacy. I'll be all she ever knows. I'm the past, the present, and the future. He thought he was going to absorb Beyonce's background, and her credentials would become his credentials. But instead, and we see this a lot with the dope boy type who goes for the suburban girl, he got triggered. And this happened for several reasons. As I've said before, first of all, Beyonce is on top of the world. Jay-Z is only at the top of his field. He's a very successful and influential rapper, whereas she is the top entertainer of our time, in addition to being on the best dressed list and the most beautiful list and the top businesswoman list, the magazine covers. He thought that prestige was going to automatically transfer to him as, quote, owner. And it didn't. In his mind, they are being compared when they stand side by side, and he knows he loses in that comparison. She can transition very seamlessly from place to place. He knows she's able to move in those elite circles, that she's wanted in certain rooms, even that she's positioned as a role model. And he knows his ability to access that kind of mainstream acceptance and success is far lesser and entirely dependent on his connection with her. Think about it like this. Almost every rapper you see from that era trying to transition into mainstream success has had to have a woman verifier by his side saying, this guy's all right. Think about Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. Without his connection to her, do you think he would be nearly as commercially viable as he is right now, the way he is right now, this new rebranded image? Of course not. He'd be famous, sure, he'd be rich, but this new level of entree he has now because he does these shows with her and because basically she has softened his image has given him access to a new market, to what Beyonce has done for Jay-Z. But I believe he resents this dependence. I think Lemonade is a very good example of the fact that he realizes that her approval can be removed or removed at will, and that he would suffer for it, that he suffered in the public imagination for the disrespectful way he treated her. Like many men, I think that he thought that the goodwill she brought him politically and socially was his gift forever, and that he could do her any kind of way once he had it. And he didn't realize that he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger on borrowed time. Arnold Schwarzenegger thought that the political goodwill that his Kennedy wife brought him was his gift, and he got to keep it. But when he cheated on her and she removed all the political goodwill that she brought into his life, and he fell from being a one-time governor of California to again being an action movie hero, he was shocked. At that level, a lot of men think that they absorb your power and they go on and they become more powerful and stronger than ever. I believe he intended for her to be an era in his life, which isn't to say that I thought that he was going to take her and then leave her. I think he thought he was going to be like Barry Gordy or Alfred Hitchcock, a star maker, and going from woman to woman with his fingers on their legacies and total control over all of them. I think he thought he was going to have Beyonce in his home as the wife and the mother of his children and, be able to move freely at will between her and the other women. And he was going to be the center of it all, which is another reason he went for somebody so much younger. And we saw he tried to do the same thing with Rihanna and the way he tried to mold her and control her career. And this is why, in my opinion, he was featured so prominently on Crazy in Love. This was her big coming out moment as a solo artist, and I believe in his mind he was transferring ownership of her from her father Matthew to himself, Jay-Z, and indicating in the future, yes, now she's under my control, very much the same way she was under her father's control. And all the accolades that was once going to him are now going to go to me. Berry Gordy thought that he owned Diana Ross's image back when she was under Motown's contracting. It's crazy how men fail to learn the same lesson from generation to generation, because Berry Gordy was in charge of Diana Ross. He picked the movies that she would do, even the wardrobe that she would wear. She was very well compensated. He had her on $1 million retainer. That's per year, back in the 60s. But still, he thought he controlled this woman. He thought he owned her because he controlled access to her and that her success was going to be his success. And she left him behind and became a pop culture juggernaut. And essentially the same thing has happened here. His infidelity is a mind game. It is a way to, try and swipe at her self-esteem and control her. Because of the huge power imbalance when they got together, I'm sure it does affect her mentally. But I think by weaponizing that with Lemonade and demonstrating she could take his mistreatment of her and turn that into even more social power and capital, she completely flipped the script and the power dynamic in their relationship. When people talk about a dream girl, they have to realize that's all tied to power and social capital. As I've said before, you give an ordinary man a choice, and he could have his so-called dream girl come to his room secretly every night, and they could have a beautiful, passionate relationship, and she would do whatever he wanted, or he could woman despise him, but she would meet up with him publicly every day for lunch, let's say in the public square, and everybody in the world would know that they were together. They're going to pick the second option every time. It's why for ordinary men, their dream girl is almost always a celebrity. It's Scarlett Johansson, it's Anya Taylor-Joy, Zendaya, Justine Skye, because that would give them clout. That would give him, in his mind, her social capital. But the dream girl differs from man to man because different men have different dreams. Ordinary working class men want the money and the access. Men at that elevated level want the power. So no, Beyonce's not his dream girl because instead of consolidating his power, she represents the fact that she could take it all away easily with a snap of her fingers. He resents her. He might even hate her. So who's the dream girl now? The answer varies. It could be a Gone Girl situation where his dream girl is just an ordinary girl who's going to be in awe of his power or his perceived power in the way that Beyonce never would be at this point. Some girl falling out frothing at the mouth. Oh my God, you're Jay-Z. Someone who makes him feel like a conquering hero because she doesn't have anything. She doesn't have that ability. She can't shake the room. She can't rock the world the way Beyonce can. So she has no choice but to be in awe of him. I think his dream girl used to be potential, like, somebody like Rihanna, who's a completely different type, who could have gotten him a different kind of political and social capital, who, when she was younger, was set up as a rival to Beyonce, who he thought might have been potentially able to take her on, who he could still mold and control. But that's over now. Beyonce is too firmly entrenched and nobody can ever supersede her. And there's no woman with enough social or political capital to help him cheat on her and leave and completely clean up his image afterwards. I don't know if he even dreams of women at this point.
I think also Jay-Z was playing chess moves with Beyonce and then realized that, well, she has established herself without him. And now he really cannot walk away. He can't walk away. Like, walking away from Beyonce is as deadly as you trying to escape death. You really cannot escape death. No matter how hard you try, death will eventually catch up with you at old age. Eventually, it will. It always does. So he won't even bother cheating at this point. It will only hurt him more than it will hurt her. And whatever pain he feels in his mind, he will feel it for real. Because you really cannot have the power of a woman. The power is mine. Hello?